Whip, hello and welcome to ETTO's spoiler cast on all things Spider-Man PS4. With me, is me, the Doctor of Who, but also with me is Joshua.
Yes, Sheep is here. The Whip, everybody. Man, what an intro.
It was amazing. Speaking of amazing, we're going to talk all things Spider-Man, PS4, pretty much all about the spoilers, but first up we're going to talk news, so you can stick around for that if you haven't seen the Spider-Man, you haven't played the Spider-Man yet, and then we'll tell you when the spoilers are going to kick off. So first up, news, this big one, maybe, we don't know yet.
Yeah, it seems pretty confirmed, and it happened today, as of recording this thing.
Yeah.
Who's gonna?
You can break it down.
Yeah. All right, break it down. We got Henry Cavill leaving the Warner Brothers DC universe. Crazy. And Ben Affleck.
As well as Ben Affleck. Yeah.
Both of them. The big one that everyone's like really freaking out about is Henry Cavill. I feel like Ben Affleck
speaks volumes of Ben Affleck.
Yeah, he's sort of like fallen under the radar a little bit, even though they're sort of on par. But whatever.
He's the one that's almost confirmed. Henry Cavill is the one that's a bit up in the air. Get it? Because he flies. Yeah. But Ben Affleck is pretty much locked down. Because he's not been in it for so long. Like, the amount of times he's been fired or he's left in the past year.
Yeah.
You know, this one feels like it's finally, he's done, guys.
Who knows what that guy's doing, seriously? Other than what?
Apparently, and he's in rehab a lot.
Drugs or alcohol?
Yeah. Both.
Okay, there you go. Well, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Guess.
Hopefully that all works out for him and he gets back to making good movies. But thankfully, he won't be in the DC universe making bad movies.
Yes, which is good. I feel sorry for whoever feels like they're gonna jump in or whoever jumps in on this because they're just sort of
whoever's the Don Cheadle of this situation.
Even if they're gonna, like, I don't know. Will anyone actually be willing to jump in on such a mess?
But also, what actor out there who has seen these films goes, I want to join this.
Yeah.
Or, I'll take this up. No one's going to want to.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm concerned. I don't know what's going to happen here.
Except for, as fans have been petitioning as of the time of recording this, Nicolas Cage as Superman.
Oh, buddy.
Give him his dream.
Oh, man. Bring it back. Please.
Superman lives. Give it to him.
I'd watch the crap out of that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even care if it was bad.
I mean, it's a DC film. It's going to be. So you might as well put Nick Cage in it.
Yeah, exactly. So out of all this news, one of the major things they have been talking about is Michael B. Jordan being cast as Superman, the replacement. So that's all just sort of rumors and speculation, I think, or maybe Warner Brothers.
It's not. I don't know where it sparked from. But it's been coupled with all of this news, so assumedly the same source that everything else has come from. Yeah.
So who knows where that's coming from? But what a random choice, and I feel very controversial and will spark a lot of chatter.
But sure.
Yeah. I guess.
If you've already gotten rid of the guy that everyone's kind of accepted post-Justice League as, he can be Superman, do something dumb. Go for it.
It's just so bizarre. But as you and I were saying today, if they end up doing Flashpoint, hopefully, which hopefully they do and do well, they'll be in an alternate universe. Is that Earth 2? Is that where they end up? Or is it just an alternate timeline?
It's just a split thing. Cool. It's the Flashpoint universe, basically.
Sweet. So if they just go there, then they can restart everything, and you can have Michael B. Jordan as a Black Superman in that universe, and inside
Jeffrey
Flashpoint,
Dean Morgan.
Inside Flashpoint, you've got Thomas Wayne as Batman because Bruce Wayne gets shot in the alley instead of the parents, and what I would love to see, but definitely won't happen, is Martha Wayne becomes the Joker because she goes insane at the scene of at the scene and the grief of the death of her child. She's holding him, and then she puts her hand over her mouth, and then when she pulls it away, she's just got like blood sort of in the shape of a grin over her face, and she starts laughing, and it's
very cool.
The coolest couple of panels of that comic series. It's so
and annoying
rad.
that it doesn't eventuate. I'm sure there's a comic series that dabbles with that, but it's so annoying that doesn't eventuate in any form of the Flashpoint story. Like,
yeah,
aggressively eventuate.
oh, it'd be so cool. But yeah, I would love to see that version of the movies.
Yep.
But
Do it.
they've barely established anything anyway. So I don't know whether they shouldn't do it or whether they just should, just to jump in and do whatever the crap they're doing. Because they've got like 2 Joker different actors now for different movies in different
Chuck in a third
universes.
one.
So why not just freaking... who cares?
I still can't believe they're doing Flashpoint. Like,
Yeah.
we don't care about this universe. The point of Flashpoint is like, look at all these cool things that usually are like this, but they're like this. I don't know what the cool things look like in this universe, so I don't know that that's different.
Like, yeah,
That's the problem.
they clearly don't care about making money. So
No.
like, just make these weird movies that no one's really going to care about, but people might want to watch. Just make weird crap. Who cares? They don't. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. In summary, 2/3 of the Trinity might be recast or changed around, but the good thing about it is that 1/3 of the Trinity? Why did I change
That's
the word?
fine.
I said it right the first time. Yeah, 1/3 of the Trinity is halfway through filming their film, and it'll be a great movie because it's all the same people making a good movie.
Yes.
Wonder Woman 84 will be great.
Yes. So keen.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yes.
Cool.
But something else that's great is the Spider-Man game on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, well, just quickly, before we do that,
Yes, Joshua.
just after Spider-Man came out, so did Iron Fist, and basically no one realized.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people missed
Just like
it.
me.
Yeah. Well, you've actually watched some of it,
I did watch the first 2 episodes.
and it's actually okay.
It's totally fine.
I've heard good things. About
Yeah.
it so far. I definitely need to catch up on all of these series. I'm still quite behind.
I haven't seen the first season, so maybe it's not great.
Yeah, but like I've
Maybe I've got
been
nothing
listening
to
to
compare it to.
podcasts, and everyone's like, it's real good. It's way better.
Yeah, right.
So
There you go.
yeah, keen as. But yeah, no one noticed because it came out the day after Spider-Man PS4, which
Spider-Man.
is currently just sort of the biggest thing in the world right now.
Yeah, or at least the biggest thing in Marvel, so no one's going to be looking at Iron Fist.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just, it's such a bizarre timing for like that to come out the day after this huge, highly anticipated game and not have like a bit of a gap, but whatever.
Very strange. You know what they should have done? Is like wherever Danny Rand lives in the game, they should have just had like a little TV inside the room that you could look in and watch Iron Fist season 2 on that television.
That would be
from
great.
within the game.
That would be great.
That's what you need to do.
Oh, yes, please.
Perfect.
Excellent.
But something that no one seems to be talking about is that every Defender has gotten a new season this year. Like, that's freaking huge.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of seasons.
Wait, has Daredevil had one this year?
His comes out in December.
Right.
So season 3 of Daredevil comes out in December. So it's like, it's
Alright.
wall-to-wall Netflix heroes. And considering it's taken so long to get a series of Daredevil, and then there was like a second season quite quickly, but then there was a bit of delay. But we've gotten 4 new seasons of the Netflix Marvel world. Like, that's freaking crazy in 1 year.
And then on top of that, like,
Cloak and Dagger,
yeah, Cloak and Dagger's come out. Legion
Gifted,
has
And
had
Legion?
a second season.
Yeah.
What was that other thing?
Gifted.
Yeah, you said that one. There was another one. There was another one. There was another one. What the hell was it?
There was another one.
Uh,
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, that's
still going.
Probably had a thing. Damn
That's
it!
definitely still going.
There was totally another one that was. Inhumans.
It was Inhumans.
That was this year, wasn't it? And that
The
flopped
Runaways
like
also was this
crazy.
year.
My goodness,
The
Marvel.
Runaways.
Calm
Slow down.
down.
I don't have time for this, Marvel.
Man,
It's been a big year.
it's crazy. But as we always do with our heap smooth transitions, something we both made time for and
Yes.
made time for very quickly within like 2 to 3 days and finished.
Yeah.
It's the new Spider-Man game, as previously mentioned.
It's the new Spider-Man game.
Oh,
Um,
man.
I look. let's not delve into the spoilers of the story. Let's just say what we think about the game, and then people who haven't played the game can go away. Or if they're users of Xboxes, you'll never play the game, so just stick around and listen to us talk about this great game.
Yes, unlucky guys. Sorry to say.
Yeah,
sorry to say. You've chosen the wrong console.
You've chosen poorly.
Your thoughts?
Very, very good.
Oh, yes.
Look, here's the thing about this game, and I'll talk more about this later. I know it's very good, and then straight into this voice. Look, it's everything that every other Spider-Man and every other video game has ever done. There is nothing new in this game, nothing that will shock you about the way a game is made or mechanics in a game, but it's the best version of everything a game has ever done. Like, everything that it's reusing is the best version of that thing, but there's nothing new in this game. There's nothing that'll make you go, wow, games are crazy. It's just like, wow, games are still really good.
Yeah. It's definitely, like, it's been done before, but
yeah,
this is just
not this well.
It's so good. Like, it's just really, really good. It's a Spider-Man game. It's what you expect from a Spider-Man game. It's probably what everyone remembers Spider-Man 2 being on, like, PlayStation.
Yeah.
The original PlayStation or PlayStation 2, whatever it was on.
PlayStation 2.
It's it's what everyone remembers that being, but so much better. And just so polished, and you've got the, like, Arkham style combat, and you've got this this story, which I won't mention, like, say too much about it, but they've very much played with the lore of Spider-Man so much, but it works.
Yeah,
really
this is
well.
very much like, if it is as we have been told by, not personally, but Insomniac have said that this is the beginning of a much larger gaming universe for Marvel. It's definitely the stepping stones for that, and it's definitely paving the way, keeping on with the stepping stones and the pavement, paving the way for how they're going to tackle being different, not being the MCU, not being the comics, but being very much their own thing in this medium. It's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I guess, like the movies have very much played with the lore of the comic books. So it's like, it's what you remember, and it's what you know about them, but just tweaked a little bit to be fresh.
Yeah. It's preparing for the future in the way that comic books never can.
Yeah.
Because they're always like, okay, this is the freshest thing. Oh, look, we've gone and killed the main character, and now he's back. Whereas these games, this already feels like the way the MCU did, where they're like, look, here's all the things we're going to do. We're just not doing them yet. It's all ready. We know what this world is. We know what the tone is. Like, this game feels like its own universe, and that is crazy.
Yeah. It's just amazing already. We're one game into this thing.
Yeah, and it's the Iron Man of the gaming universe already.
Oh, buddy, we are alive at a good time.
We are. But for those that use Xbox and want to die now, you can go away or you can stick around. We're going to talk all things spoilers now. We've got to dive in. There's too much to hold back on this game. Basically, we're going to spoil the story. So if you want to know nothing about the story, sorry, you're going to know something. And, we're going to talk about everything. So if you care about villains, about side quests and stuff, you're going to get it all heard. So go play as much as the game as you want and come on back and we're going to talk about it.
Yes.
Assume you're back now.
Yes, very much. Good. So, what was the story?
It was like... So it's set at a 23-year-old Peter Parker. He's away from high school. He's already dated Mary Jane. He's assumedly dated Gwen, because I feel like they're not going to bother with Gwen.
Yeah, probably won't talk about it.
I don't think they're going to put her in later. They're going to stick with MJ, avoid all that confusion.
Yeah, but he's been Spider-Man for 8 years, I think they said.
Yeah.
So, I love...
he's...
Sorry, you go.
Yeah.
Keep going.
No. I was just going to say he's for some reason. Continue.
Cool. I was just going to say they reference and show and bring in, like, all of his main villains into this. But the thing I love so much is there is clearly a history with every single one of them. And I don't know how they did it so well, but you don't need to know the history of them. They just exist.
Just like a comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just there, and like they're already quipping back and forth at each other, potentially like oh man, I have always hated the way you make jokes. Like his villains say that to him, and then he makes a joke back about something about the past or whatever. And it's like, I don't even need to know what's happening, but this is it's just so well written and so well intertwined. All his past heroes and the fact that they all have a history. It's amazing. I don't know if anything that I just said made sense.
No, it made all the sense, but
Good.
The one thing that this also starts one of the many things that they've changed dramatically from the comics. As you said, 8 years in, he's not met the Green Goblin yet, because the Green Goblin doesn't exist. Norman Osborn is still Norman Osborn, and Harry is whatever.
True.
We'll get to Harry in a sec.
Yep.
But so that's a big change from the comics, considering like issue 6 or issue 7 was the Green Goblin. So that's a huge thing.
Yep.
And very interesting because I mean maybe Gwen hasn't died yet, because I don't know how else you do that storyline without Norman. So maybe she's coming. Maybe she's coming later.
Whoa.
Actually, now realizing that.
Whoa.
Because no one's snapped a neck yet, have they?
Can you imagine that?
Imagine that in a game. Imagine if you could change the fate of Gwen Stacy by missing a QTAE, a quick time action event.
Whoa.
Imagine that. Imagine someone's life coming down to that. God.
Because
please let that
they
happen.
could twist it, and then she can get bitten, and then we have freaking Spider-Gwen.
Mate, that's a whole discussion. We've got to talk about that later, about what we want from DLC. That is number one
Oh my
on the priority
goodness.
list. But
We've just
Yeah.
broken everything. This is amazing.
yeah. But yes, so kicking it off, the story is already very clearly a big twist on the Spider-Man lore by having Norman still being Norman and Harry, as we'll get to later. But I think the weirdest thing about this story is Mr. Lee, because every trailer makes it so clear that he is Mr. Negative, but the game never makes you think that you like. The game's still like, oh, hey, how about this? It's like, well, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the Mr. Negative twist was not spoilt, because it's like, I don't know what else it's the same, he's wearing the same suit, but it was just weird that was a big thing in the game, because I was like, I know this.
Yeah, like who bought this game without looking at the trailers?
Yeah.
Like without
totally.
seeing Mr. Negative in anything ever. And that seemed really bizarre to me, and
also, can I just ask, I might have missed something. Is there ever a moment where he realizes and goes, oh my god, he's working with Aunt May and stuff? Because I feel like that doesn't happen. Does that happen? Maybe I missed a scene.
No, because there's just a point. Like there's a weird sort of gap in time for a while. I think it's after the big explosion, which we'll get to.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
There's like a
So
gap
there's a lot of
because
stuff that happens
he's
there.
healing a little bit, and then once you actually get out again and like get into the world, he's just suddenly like, nah, he's a bad guy.
yeah.
It's like, how do you know that? You were basically like knocked out and in a coma. I don't understand where that came from.
Good. Okay. Because I think it was in the mission. We're jumping all around. If you've played the game, you understand what we're talking about. It's the mission where you find all the plans and stuff. I think just before he goes back to Feast and finds his secret room, and he's just like, "Oh, I've got to get back to Feast to find out with Mr. Lee and stuff." I'm like, "Wait, hang on. We're okay with what happened?" So I'm glad that I didn't miss something. I'm glad the game just kind of glosses over that. Well, I'm not glad that it does. I'm glad that I didn't miss it.
Yeah, I don't think so. There was just a
good.
weird, quick jump.
There's a time gap, yeah.
Because I think he goes into the office and stuff to get all the information because he needs proof.
Yeah.
Because he comes out of his little coma thing and is like, like Mr. Negative's what is it?
Mr.
Thingo
yeah,
Lee?
Mr. Lee.
What's his name?
Chuck.
Sure, Chuck Lee. That's not his name.
Chuck Lee.
He's like, oh, he's the bad guy, and then the police you're always talking to is the police officer you're always talking to is like Yuri, that's the one. Is like, like we need proof before we can actually do anything. So that's why you start exploring his stuff. Bizarre. Anyway, we've
Very
just
odd.
sort of jumped way ahead.
We jumped so far.
That's back to the beginning of the story.
Yes.
Will.
Does he battle Electro really early on? Does that happen? No, he battles Shocker really early on. That's right.
Yes. Yeah. So he battles Fisk is the first one.
That's right. It is too.
Martin Lee was the guy's name.
Martin Lee.
the
I was
one.
close. Yeah, the first mission with Fisk, I thought that was quite possibly, and Dan Crowd, old mate Dan Crowd of GameSpot, IGN, and Screenplay, said that it was the best opening 20 minutes of a video game. I think I'd agree. And like Uncharted is metaphorically tattooed to my body, but this is the best opening 20 minutes to a video game easily.
Yeah. It was
It was just wall to wall.
it throws you in so well. And teaches you like so many of the mechanics. Well, so many of the base mechanics, and then for like the next couple of hours you're still learning new mechanics.
They don't let you touch your suits until like 3 hours in.
It's nuts. There's just so much in this game, so many different mechanics. But yeah, so basically you start off breaking into Fisk's like building and sort of to bring him down, because what's he doing? Why are we breaking into
He's a
Fisk's
crime
thing
boss.
again? But is there a reason why we're doing it right now?
Probably not.
Cool. Fair enough.
I mean, he had a police radio on his desk, so I assume something was going down. Because
Yeah.
you swing in and there's police swarming the building.
Yeah.
So I think the police were like, let's do it now. And then Spidey's like, dude, probably not by yourself. I'm coming.
Yeah. Cool. And just on that, before he even suits up and stuff, we get a good shot through his bedroom, and you just see all these things. And probably the only one I really noticed, because when I looked at it, my mind just exploded and I couldn't concentrate on anything else, was there was a pile of magazines, and I was like, is that a pile of comic books? And at the top is Amazing Fantasy number 15, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man, which is just so damn meta and amazing. Man,
Well, look, don't forget
blew
that
my mind.
in Amazing Spider-Man 2, the video game, Stan Lee owned a comic book shop called The Comic Stan, and all the comics inside it were Spider-Man issues. And there was posters of Spider-Man, like, there's posters of Superior Spider-Man, which clearly would not have existed in the Amazing Spider-Man universe.
this is true.
So,
this is very true.
Let it be known, meta in Spider-Man games, it's fine.
It's true. It's almost like Deadpool level.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good. It's
But
so
yeah,
self-aware.
that opening, and it like set up how beautiful a game was going to be.
Oh.
And as you would have seen in my first 20-minute bite, which I guess is more of a chomp on the channel, they throw you straight into the web slinging, and I was yelling, "Don't do it," because I'm enjoying watching this with this beautiful like punk rock song in the background. And yeah, just throwing you from cinematic into the thing, I was like, okay, I'm in game. Thank you. Thank you for throwing me inside Spider-Man.
It's so well done. But yeah, so you end up helping out the cops in Fisk's tower, and you bring him down. He gets arrested and he gets taken to the raft, I think,
Yep.
or just to a jail, probably the raft. And then from there, you're basically just thrown into the world, and off you go. You just, I don't know, you fight Shocker a little bit later, and then you arrest him, and
then he just gets out, because then all of a sudden you do another battle with him a little bit later. After that,
yeah, that's right.
he just gets out because they're like, hang on, I don't think you quite know how boss battles are working. So you've done 2. Let's just do 1 more before we do anything else.
Yeah.
Who have we got? Oh, the Shocker. Yeah, throw him back in.
Yes, and then this weird new gang appears called the Demons, and they're like a bunch of Asian men in these sort of like Asian like
Tribal masks.
sort of their ancient law masks and stuff, and yeah, they just start sort of causing trouble, wreaking havoc, and so off you go to try and figure out why. who these guys are.
Yep.
And that leads you...
And as we've discussed...
Yes. It's all...
just kind of stuff happens.
Yeah. It all ends up being Martin Lee. But while you're doing this, you're also bringing down a bunch of, like, Fisk stuff, and you're sort of looking into both areas. Because I think, is the Fisk stuff where you first start working with the police officer?
I believe so,
Thingo
yeah.
Jefferson, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And then
either that or... Yeah, I think it's that.
Yeah, because I think he's like a Fisk thing. And then it turns out he is the father, the police officer you work with, is the father of Miles Morales, who most people would know as the Ultimate Spider-Man from the Ultimate Universe, which is so rad and so just... That's absolutely going to go somewhere. You just know, because they wouldn't put him in there unless he was.
No. Well, as soon as that cop mission started, I'm like, well, that's Miles' dad.
Yeah, totally.
And I also went, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
As soon as he was just chilling with Spidey, I'm like, mate, you're gone.
Yeah. So after the mission where you work with him, he gets like a commendation or something from the mayor, who is Osborn. I always forget his freaking first name.
Norman.
Norman Osborn is the mayor of the town. He gives him a award of like valiance or whatever, and
which was actually only happening because it made Norman look good.
Yes, yep. So I think there was a re-election coming up, and it was supposed to be like this big speech, but it's for Norman. But at the same time, he was doing this, and it made him look real great. And then the demons and Mr. Negative basically cause this big attack, cause a suicide bomber to basically bomb the event, and Officer Jefferson, Miles's dad, tries to save a bunch of people, stands in the way, and explodes, pretty much. And Peter Parker gets injured in all of this, and then you start playing as Miles, who goes
I was playing this game. Zara was over.
Yes,
and she was like, "Yeah, this is okay." You know, I was swinging around the city and stuff, and then this whole cutscene started, and she was so well in. And then when the dude exploded, she was like, "Wait, what?" And then you're seeing from the perspective of Miles all this stuff happening, and then he looks over and Peter looks like he's dying, and at that point I'm like screaming, because I'm like, have they done what I was praying them to do, which is kill Peter halfway through and then let you play as Miles Spider-Man for the rest of the game?
Yeah.
I was screaming, she was screaming, because she was like, oh my god, this is so much more of a game, more than a game. And then you take control of Miles and start to walk. He free runs through the havoc of what this bomb attack has caused. And look, here's the thing with these missions. I love them because they're done so brilliantly. Because you play as both Miles, later on you play as Mary Jane, and that happens again, I think like 3 times or so for Mary Jane, about 3 for each, 3 or 4. And they're scattered perfectly throughout the game, to the point, because after this first one with Miles and after the other one with MJ, I was like, this is going to be a one-off thing that they're like, hey, we did it, well done. But they're so well evenly spaced that they feel like a level in the game, less so a gimmick.
And like later on there's a Mary Jane one. Later on there's a Mary Jane one where you're basically controlling both. Yeah. Like you're playing as Mary Jane, but you're getting Mary Jane to
telling Spidey to do stuff.
Give Spidey instructions so that she can get through a level, and it's like it's so clever. It's
so good. I've got that written down on my as a note.
Yeah.
Because we need to talk about that for a good bit.
Yeah.
But the one thing about these missions is the AI of the enemies. Like, I don't know what you could... Because they're not Spider-Man. They can't distract these people. They can't web them. So you throw rocks around, basically, is what it is. You throw rocks, they're like, oh, what's that? And then they just look at the rock for enough time for you to get past them. And it's just a little bit silly.
It is, but it's a video game.
It is a video game.
It's the sort of thing you just have to look past. It's fine.
Yeah. Like, the bit in the mission we're talking about right now with Miles, he, like, runs up onto the stage... where the bombing happened. There's like 4 of the demons on this stage, and you just run past them. And when I say run, I mean like walk about 2 seconds faster than you would if you were just walking.
Yeah.
Weirdest way to describe that. But you free run past them, and they don't do anything, and he's like, oh, there's Dad. I'm off. It's like, what just happened?
Yeah. It's very unrealistic.
Yeah, but again, it is a game.
Yeah, and there's enough emotion in it, and like high stakes happening at the time that
maybe they didn't kill him. Oh.
Yeah, you don't really notice until you think back, and you're like, wait, that's really dumb.
And Will is always thinking, wait, that's really dumb.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And then, what happens from there? That's when...
Well, that's your time skip.
Yeah, that's when Peter's just like, Martin Lee is a bad guy. And you're like, why?
Okay.
Sure, alright. We already knew that like a year ago when they released the trailer. But, yeah. And so then you...
And also, nothing in the game alludes that he isn't. Like, when he's like, I've got business, it's like, well... The 3 bad guys I've met is Kingpin, who is clearly the Kingpin, Shocker, who is clearly not you, and this, like, Asian guy with weird powers. So, I'm wondering...
This is the only Asian man in the game.
Yeah.
Other than
They probably just used his model for all the other demons.
Yeah.
Just made him a bit fat.
Yeah. Just some of those thug guys. Oh, those freaking thug guys. I hate those guys.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about combat. Let's get through the story, and we can talk about the goods of the game.
Yes.
The nuts.
So from there, you really start sort of digging way deeper into Martin Lee's nuts. No, his...
Oh.
Into, like, just trying to prove what's happening with him, and that he's a bad guy, and blah, 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 blah. And then I can't think of what happens other than, like... the jump to... the uni party.
Yeah, I was going to say, the uni party is where it kind of...
Which is one of the...
It's the beginning of the end for that.
Best levels ever.
Oh, it's so clever.
It's so good.
It's like, here's the, like, 6 villains that we can't think of how to put them in properly. So here you go. They're there. They're in this party.
Yeah.
You know?
But...
They're in there.
But they're freaking,
the OG costumes and stuff.
Yeah, they're just... So there's basic... Okay, guys. So... There's...
Okay, guys that have played this game.
Yes, probably. Yeah, so you've got the... I don't know, there's... why are we looking for this doctor guy?
Maybe it's to do with the virus that the whole game kind of comes down to.
Yeah, there's a virus. You got to look for... There's a whole bunch of different, like, doctors and people that you end up looking for throughout the game. And one of them is at a university. There's this big university party happening, and most of the people are... Well, a whole bunch of people are dressed up as, like... OG Spider-Man villains in their costumes and stuff. And there's like this Mysterio like mirror maze thing that you have to go through for a little bit, which is so cool. And you basically just have to go up to all of these OG Spider-Man villains who are just people at the university dressed up, and just talk to them and make sure like they're not the doctor that you're looking for. So you've got Mysterio, you've got the Lizard, you've got the Rhino, and the Rhino is just actually like this massive jock who ends up wanting to wrestle with you because you're dressed as Spider-Man, and he thinks you're just some other dude. But then you end up...
Vulture as well.
Yeah, that's right. And you just sort of end up like... Yeah, messing around with these people because they're like, oh yeah, Spider-Man, like come fight me. It's so
The thing is, with the Rhino one, he literally webs him to the ground. So I feel like at that point, everyone should have been like, that seems off.
Yeah.
Oh, there goes that... I don't remember Chuck... I don't know why everyone's called Chuck in this game. I don't remember Chuck being able to climb walls.
Yeah. It's bizarre. It's great.
They're all very drunk.
They
though,
are.
So,
yes.
I mean, that's fair.
Very true. And then you end up...
Very drunk.
Going through... like one of the university buildings to find this guy who's been kidnapped by some of the demons, I think. And then as you leave, and you're trying to escape and everything, because they make him kill himself, which is like...
Oh, that was dark.
Yeah, which is just like, my goodness, this is not a game for young kids.
No.
Yeah, as you sort of escape all of that and try and get away with these people that can clearly make you like change and be mind controlled. All of these students at the party are then mind controlled, so then you have to fight them off. Which I feel like I was talking to a guy at work today, and he said he didn't feel it as much, but you could I felt like you could really feel Spider-Man pulling his punches on this because they are just civilians.
Well, yeah, and he also webs them all, which is great.
Yeah, like he punches them once, maybe twice, and then just throws them to the ground and webs them. But you can feel it. Like, I felt like he was not punching like he does all the thugs.
No,
and stuff.
not at all.
Man, so clever.
No.
The fact that you can feel that, or at least see it in the animation.
Yeah, which then translates as well.
So good. Yes. So then you escape from that, and that starts like all these side missions where all of these university students keep getting mind controlled, and they end up like terrorizing all these different people in the city.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Which, I freaking love those, because basically a dude, I can't remember what his name is, but he's actually from the comics as well. He's one of Pete's friends in high school, which is really cool.
Sick.
Yeah. He's got like a facial tracking thing, and he keeps getting photos of students that were in locations where these crimes are happening. And so, for some reason, he can track faces, but he's not able to just use Google Maps to tell you it's over there.
Yeah.
But from the photo, Pete's like, oh, it's like northeast of this location. So basically, you just head towards northeast of one of the landmarks that are on the map that you can take photos of. Mm-hmm. And you just go that way. And it's like, it's the epitome of the fact that the game is set in New York, because as a New Yorker, Peter would be like, oh yeah, it's just over there, so I'm going to head that way.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very clever use of the map that they created and the lore of Spider-Man living in New York. It's very good.
Yeah,
it's very clever missions.
Yeah, and at that point in the game, you would have played enough to also have some sort of rough idea of where that is.
Absolutely.
Which is so cool. They've made you learn the map. Like, I feel like I could go to New York now, and I would...
Yeah, same.
I would generally know what's around and where to go.
Because all the buildings feel like it feels, at the very least, that these buildings are where they are.
Yeah. Yeah, for the most part, like...
Yeah, obviously not Avengers Tower and Sanctum and stuff,
yes.
But...
it's so cool.
I assume there's a building of that scale in that location.
Yeah, and one thing recently, one thing I noticed is, like, recently I've been learning this jazz song called Take the A Train, and the lyrics are like, you've got to take the A train to go to Sugar Hill way up in Harlem. And I'm like, I have no idea what any of that means. And I've talked to...
Now you do.
Yeah, I've talked to my guitar teacher, and he's like, yeah, I don't know. It probably means something to maybe people in America or in that area, or like maybe it's just something from back in the 60s when the song was written. But a whole area of the map is Harlem. And when you're fighting crime there, they're like, we need all police to go to Sugar Hill in Harlem, please. And it's just like, oh my gosh, that's the damn song I've been learning for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
What a moment.
It was amazing. And so, oh man, that blew my mind. I got so much more excited about doing anything in Harlem because of learning that song. It's so good.
Okay, I just want to take a quick break from Spider-Man, because...
Do we have a sponsor?
I've not... No, we do not.
This is like the perfect time for a sponsorship.
All right, well, actually, then, maybe by the time this podcast is out, but definitely by the time this podcast is out, we'll be... hang on, let's just take a break, and let's go to the sponsor. The sponsor, Will, is able to speak English. So,
what?
By the time this podcast is out, we will have announced that we will be going to PAX in Melbourne, which is where Josh is, but it's not where I am. PAX Oz, and I think Will doesn't know things very well. It's on the 26th, 27th, and 28th of October. Mm-hmm. It's at the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre, and on Saturday at 9:30 p.m. in the Ibis Theatre, we'll be doing a panel that's all madness, and you should totally come if you're coming to PAX.
It's going to be so much fun. Come hang out. Come meet us. We want to meet you guys. We want to hang out. Bring your friends. Tell everyone you can. Get as many people as you can to this thing, because it'll be so much fun. It'll be awesome just to hang out with a bunch of friends.
Yeah, the more the merrier, because what we're going to do... Actually, you know what? We'll tell you the name of the title, which is... The name of the title? Does that make sense? Maybe it does.
Sure.
The best gaming snack to attack. And then ... whilst gaming. But it's also already at the start of the title, so you don't really need to hear that bit. But that's what we're doing. We're trying to find the best gaming snack. There's a whole heap of weird rules that we've put against ourselves. But you have to come to see that. So, yeah, Melbourne Exhibition and something Centre... in October 20, whatever I said. I already heard everything. I don't need to repeat it. That's not how audio works.
But yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And also, you can possibly buy merch by the time this hits, which will be Tuesday. Let's just see if I can get up the link really quickly. It'll be at... Hang on. Oh, no, it's not even logged in. Oh, what great audio this is. Yeah, thank you. It'll be at shop.spreadsheet.com.au/ettonline.
Ettonline. That's amazing.
I was pretty happy with that one.
Very good. Very good.
But there'll be a link, at least in the YouTube video. Will doesn't generally remember to do things for the SoundCloud stuff, but not many of you are over there. But if you're listening on SoundCloud, jump on over to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/eachtheir own, and on the video version of this, there'll be a link to the store. But if you like our stuff, we're going to be pushing this store for a long time to come, which is not how that sentence works.
That's fine.
But yes, go buy our merch. You can wear us or you can drink us. It's up to you.
It's going to be great. I'm so keen for this stuff. We got to make more. We keep trying to come up with more ideas. We just got to make all the things.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess on top of that, if you want to submit some ideas, you can do it anywhere, but the easiest way to do it is to jump on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/eachtotheir own. Just $2 will get you into our super secret Discord, and there's 15 or 16 people in there. It all varies because sometimes people can't pay money and they leave or they come back. Yeah. But yeah, if you want to send some ideas for this merch, jump on over to our Discord by going into our Patreon. Yeah. It's a 2-step process.
Yeah. That would be great. If you can't, which is totally fine, please look after yourself first. Just comment on whatever platform you're currently listening on and let us know what you want to see. Or just go to Facebook, let us know on there. Whatevs.
You can send us a message on Facebook if you have a visual idea. If you have really cool art that you'd like on a t-shirt, maybe even that. Whatever you want to do.
Fan art. Imagine that.
Fan art on T. Come on, Emmy Cat Kitty. But we should totally... Wait, no. The reason I actually stopped talking was because it's a rumor/news about Doctor Who that show that I used to like. It's that. And I don't know where this rumor has come from, but apparently it's been lingering for a while, but I've just been out of the Doctor Who scene. Apparently, the new Doctor Who theme tune will be sung by Sia.
What?
This is a rumor that is existing right now. I don't know where it sparked from, but generally these rumors have some form of truth in it. So I don't know what to think of that.
Weird.
Weird. I'm thinking... We don't even have to discuss that, but...
I'm thinking just the theme song with Sia's nasally singing, being like, Doctor Who, Doctor Who...
I hope not.
Maybe that. Let's just... I'm hoping for that, just because that would be the dumbest thing.
That'd just kill the show. I guess the one good thing about... I mean, I would laugh for a little bit and then feel sadness. I guess the one cool thing about it would be an Australian involved with Doctor Who. I guess that's something to take from it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I guess.
Far out. It'd be nuts.
But that's odd.
What a weird thing. What a weird rumor.
Yeah. What a weird rumor. I think... I don't know. If it was a cool, atmospheric song, maybe it'd work. If it involved the Doctor Who riff and, it had enough of that in it. And because I feel like the title sequence is going to have a lot more names, a lot more executive producer stuff. I feel like it's going to feel like a Netflix title sequence a lot more than previous Doctor Who titles. So maybe it'll work if it's a thing.
This is so strange. Even that there's just vocals in their theme song.
Yeah.
Vocals in any theme song. There's no
totally.
Singing in theme songs anymore.
The only ones that I can think of, the Marvel Rising show that's coming up. I think it's next week.
Yeah, that's a kids thing.
Spider-Man
that's
and
fine.
stuff. Yeah, kids shows definitely always have it because that and Spectacular Spider-Man, which is the greatest Spider-Man thing, which brings us back to the thing we're going to talk about, which is Spider-Man. And I think where we left it was kind of the second act. So we're going to just quickly talk about the third act of the game, which we have avoided something that's happening the whole way through this game, which is Peter Parker works for Dr. Octavius, which is something that doesn't really exist in the comics. But it is kind of something they've pulled from Spider-Man 2, really, because he was kind of somewhat working with him in that Spider-Man 2 film, the Tobey Maguire film.
Okay, good point. Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen that movie. But yeah, that's absolutely a thing in this, and it seems to work. It seems to make sense. And throughout this whole thing, you've got Dr. Octavius basically being like undermined every step of his invention and creation process by Oscorp. The whole way. Norman Osborn is always just shutting down different things and stopping his funding every step of the way, which is really annoying for him.
My favorite additional lore thing in this game, which I don't quite know how it works in terms of lettering.
Yes, I know exactly what you're about to say.
Is when Dr. Octavius is like, we were friends, the reason that Oscorp is called Oscorp is that I am part of that name. I think he says he's the O or something. It's like,
it's because it's Osborn and Octavius.
So that means he just took the C, which is after all of his letters.
Because he basically is saying they were at university together. They worked really well together. And because they were friends, everyone called them the O's.
Yeah.
So they were like, OS, there's the O's, and then they're like, oh, we're a corporation, Oscorp. But no, it's Osborn's company.
His name is Osborn. Like, that's most of the letters.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the weirdest. It made me laugh.
Yeah.
Which was definitely not their intention.
Absolutely. It was the weirdest twisting of lore that I have heard in any of these things ever.
It was like they were like, okay, so if they don't believe that they were friends and that this the whole freaking relationship is based on the fact that they were friends and now they're not. It's like, I get it, okay?
Yeah.
Don't throw in this weird O's thing. What's that got to do with anything?
Oh man, it was so dumb.
It was very, very funny. It was so near the end of the game where stakes were being raised that it was like, oh, fine. Just turn into Doc Ock already.
We don't care. Just keep going. Man, so strange.
Very odd.
But yes, at this point, randomly, another strange jump, which I still don't understand why all this happens, but crap just starts going down on the raft, which is the maximum security prison in the Marvel universe.
Yep. It was featured in Civil War for those keeping tabs.
Yes. Yep. So that's where our heroes go. In Civil War, basically, it's a floating prison in the middle of like an ocean. It's a lot closer to New York than it is. Whereas I think in Civil War, like they have to freaking
it's in the middle
fly
of the
there,
ocean.
and you cannot see it from anywhere. It's like like covered in smoke and all this crap.
Maybe it floats.
Maybe
it was just passing. It was like the QE2. It was like, oh, here comes the raft. It's coming into dock today.
Oh, man.
I wonder if Arnie Basil will be coming off the ship. What? Auntie Basil? What a weird choice.
I thought you said Arnie Basil.
Oh, well, he could be coming too.
Who are these people?
I'm just coming up with Chuck and Basil. His name is Auntie Chuck Basil.
Done. Perfect. Stuff just starts going down, and so you need to go over and fix it, I guess, for some reason. And basically,
if you were paying attention at E3, it's that mission.
Yes, yeah.
That was showcased.
So basically, you just have to go through, you fight a bunch of thugs, and then you go inside the prison, and you just start fighting most of the Sinister Six.
Yeah. And it's at that point, it was that point in the trailer where it was like, okay, look. If you're going to try and shock me with Doc Ock at the end of this, it's not going to work.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're making the Sinister Six. Doc Ock, I think in only 3 versions of it, wasn't the founding person. He is always the dude that does it.
Yeah.
So, nice try, game.
Yes. Yes.
But it is one of the sweeping missions of the game. One of the big sweeping missions.
Oh man, it is huge. It is amazing. Yeah, and then after that, they basically get let loose in. They get a helicopter? How do they even get back? How do they get off the raft?
I mean, they're all flying, so.
Are they?
Oh, you mean the normal people?
Well, like.
You mean Spider-Man?
No, I mean like.
Because the Vulture and Electro can fly, and like I assume, and Doc Ock got there somehow.
Like,
so
yeah, I guess. So they probably got back
there's
on
a way off.
Yeah, I guess. So I'm like thinking the Rhino.
I mean, and also
the Rhino get off.
And also, every single inmate then roams New York City. So
Yes.
I'm sure there was a way to get off the raft.
Yes.
It probably docked, and Auntie Chuck Basil
There
came
you
off the
go.
raft and was like, "I'm home, boys."
There you go. Let me just say I'm very glad that we skipped over the fact that I said, how does the Rhino get off? But
That's a good question,
yeah.
because like the arm articulation of his armor probably wouldn't give anything.
oh man, I didn't realize that he was stuck in that thing. I didn't know that was
Yeah,
a
that's
thing.
why he's angry.
Yeah, okay.
That's why the
I
boy's
thought he
angry.
just put that on and that was just like his weird costume.
Yeah, no. It was like, yeah. I think in the comics it was like, I'm gonna go bash Spider-Man, and they put it on him, and then he was like, all right, off now, and then he said that to me.
There's always a point where our podcasts just fall apart, and this is it.
It does.
We've hit it.
It's nearly 11, that's why.
That's why.
But that's, yeah, in the comics I think he wants to fight Spider-Man, or he's like in the military, as all Spider-Man villains are. And then, yeah, they put the suit on him, and then they're like, oh, we can't take it off, sorry.
Great.
And he's like, ah! It's all Spider-Man's fault, because he made me want to do it!
That makes
as all
sense
villains
why
do
he's
as
so
well.
angry, because he can't get off. Alright.
That's it.
So it makes sense. But
All
anyway.
that pent-up sexual frustration.
There
Yes.
it is. It's all in the horn. So from there, yeah, basically you just have prisoners now. So you have random thugs, Fisk thugs, prisoners, and freaking Sable. They come into it at this point as well. So you got Sable people
Well,
that
they've come into it a long... Well, yeah, they're
fighting.
hanging around the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're fighting everyone and just being a menace to everyone, which is super annoying.
Fighting people with expensive cars.
Yeah, like, and they're just fighting anyone. They're setting up all these things to make it hard for anyone to get anywhere in the city, which is just frustrating, and that ends up turning into a Miles mission. So he has to sort of get around, and you've got the demons as well. So you've got like 5 different groups of random people just being frustrating in the city.
Which I don't know how I feel about it, because I was it's one of those things that I was talking about earlier, where it's like, it's been in every game, every superhero game, it's expected, but it is done the best in this game, because you do feel constantly threatened.
Yeah.
Like, you're just on your way to something, and there's just different colored sniper rifles on you the whole time.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, for
Yeah,
frick.
yeah.
Oh
And
my
they
God.
fight each other.
Yeah.
There's those crimes where Sable is fighting the demons, and it's like, that is so
And you get rid of the
cool.
yeah. And you get rid of the demons, and then Sable's turns on you.
Yeah.
They're like, all right.
Yeah.
But generally, the really cool thing about it is it's like there's 2 demons left, and then Sable hit you. Like, they don't even wait for the demons to go. They're like, all right, this is it.
Yeah. It's very well done. The way they pit everyone against each other as well as yourself. So cool.
It's crazy.
So from this point on, it's all just basically downhill. The whole city just keeps getting destroyed, and you just go.
Aunt May takes in this virus
That's right.
is yeah.
Yes.
So here's the big video game comic book thing that this game struggles with. It's all about this virus that, despite the scientific mini games, I still don't quite know what it's all about. Like, I'm not too sure what it does, but it makes Aunt May cough blood. That's about all I know that the virus does to people. It doesn't turn them into lizards like in Amazing Spider-Man 1, but yeah. So after the raft breakout, Doc Ock turns up at Central Square, or whatever they call it, Times Square, Times New Roman.
Central Park?
And breaks open. No, the main place, with all the screens.
Right. Yeah. That's probably Times Square.
Yeah, Times New Roman.
Sorry,
he
Americans.
breaks open this vial, and then it just like goes into the city, and that's it. And apparently that's a bad thing. And then it's a bad thing.
Yeah,
that's what we know. It is definitely a bad thing.
Probably, almost definitely, absolutely a bad thing.
A bad thing, yeah.
And Peter makes a. Wait, does he make it? No.
No,
there is one.
He makes
one of the other
makes
scientists
the antivirus, yeah.
makes an antivirus.
Yeah, he finishes it off.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
In one of the weirdest missions in the game, which was really, really, really cool. You've already battled. There's a really cool battle with which we'll get into the mechanics of the game really, really shortly. But there's a quick battle with Electro and the Vulture, and then it's a battle with Scorpion, who stabs you with poison, and then you're thrown into this chaotic world of a fever dream of New York City, which is when you're looking for the individual pieces that will make up this antivirus. And the first one, the one where it's like there's a sea of poison, not gonna lie, bit shit.
Yeah.
It was just a bit shit.
Yeah, where you can't sort of go too low, and then you've got random like
Scorpion pokies.
Yeah, stabby tails just kind of coming out of this poison in the city, and they're like building sized and stuff. Yeah, it was a bit average, but then it gets
know what it reminded
so much
me
better.
of?
Yeah,
It reminded me of San Andreas. I don't know if you've seen that film.
I have not seen
the
that
Rock
film.
Because after the earthquakes, then the city gets flooded, and it's about that level. They're huge buildings, but they're like riding around on a raft, and they like break into buildings to get supplies. It just kind of reminded me of that, and that's not a good thing.
Oh, I saw a bit of that like last week. My roommate was watching it.
Not a good movie.
There you go.
Not a bad movie. It was a rock movie.
Yeah, which are generally not great.
Not great, but Jumanji.
But Jumanji was
one.
a thing.
That was a very good movie. But yeah, no, it gets better, Josh. Not the Rock movies, but this mission.
Well, the Rock movies did get better with Jumanji.
That's true.
But then they went back down for
come on,
whatever.
Rampage.
Rampage. That's the one. Yes, and then they got like real good when you're just going through this weird spacey broken building thing. Oh man,
with Doc Ock's claws just like swishing through the fog and stuff.
So cool.
Incredible.
So cool.
I took the most amount of photos in that thing.
Man, so at work, like obviously half the people are talking about this game, and I'm getting people like sending me links to websites of like, oh, these are like the coolest selfies and all these things, and I'm like, no. These are really average, and then I send them yours, and people are like, "What? What is this?"
Oh, good.
Like people just freak out when I've sent yours to so many people, and they're like, "Man, those other websites know nothing." Like, it's crazy.
I'll have to find a place to put them because I'm pretty happy with them.
My goodness, yeah. Absolutely.
Maybe I'll put up a folder on the ETTO Facebook page.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Put both of our just chucking our stuff.
Yeah. Mine are average, but more funny than like amazing like yours.
Good ones with you've got good ones with tombstones.
Yes.
But not that tombstone. We'll get to him later. But yeah, this mission was really cool. But I feel like look, it's a good time to talk about this. This game has a bit of boss battle fatigue, but the way it makes up with it is interesting characters, dialogue, and locations that these boss battles happen in. And the locations often kind of change the way the boss battle works in terms of what you're throwing at the person. Because basically, it comes down to throw stuff at them, web them, until it then prompts you to press triangle and web into them, punch them for a bit, and then avoid their attacks.
Yeah.
And just keep doing that. For, I think, every battle.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but like you said, I think the differing attacks that they cause are like they make up the interesting part, and the locations definitely. And so the big one, the really really good one was Electro and Vulture.
Yeah,
so good, so cool. Just like you're in a storm, there's just electricity and crap everywhere, and it's amazing. So
it's
awesome.
Just visually incredible.
Yes, you got the best photo ever in that.
That was a very good one.
And then you've got the less interesting and the one that we both did not like much at all, Scorpion and Rhino fight, which neither of those characters sound really interesting at all. So I don't know what you do with them anyway. But
the one saving grace of that one is the fact that to attack Rhino, you pull down things that he then rams into, and then that's how you don't throw things at him, you don't web him, but you put things in his way that he knocks into.
Yeah, and
so I liked that.
Oh, did you put it in his way?
Yeah, that's how it worked.
I always pulled them down on top of him.
Yeah,
so
right.
I like crushed him.
I think I did it a few times, but most of the time, yeah, right. No, most of the time was just like pull it as he's walking towards me.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Well, I thought that the major saving grace of that was the fact that they fight each other. So if you dodge like Scorpion as he's fighting Acid, then you can like get it to hit Rhino, and then it hits him, and then he's like they then have like a little fight with each other. It's so good. I love that.
All the villains feel like they've met each other as well, which is very good.
Yes.
Like you were saying before, there's a history, not just between Spidey, but between these villains, at the very least existing in the same universe as the other villains.
Yeah.
They know what they are, they know what they do, they know their weaknesses. Like, it's a good... It feels more real than what I've read of the Sinister Six. Admittedly, I'm only up to 1970. Comics aren't that great at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I just came out of a yawn with that laugh, so that's why probably sounded weird.
You did.
It's late. Oh, it's late. Yeah.
Let's punch through this plot and let's talk about the good and the bad, the ugly.
Yes. So, basically, towards the end, you basically just track down Martin Lee. You fight him, defeat him in a couple of different battles. Like you battle him on a train, which I really enjoyed that battle. That was cool. Really fun. And then you go into a building, you fight him through the building as well. You almost die before then. How do you almost die at that point? What happens? Because you almost die before you go and battle Doc Ock.
You do too. You get stabbed. You get stabbed by the scorpions. No, not the scorpion tail. Someone stabs you. Violently. No, that's Doc Ock. That's later. I don't know what... No, I think that's it. That's when you get almost killed, is the Doc Ock battle. That's when you get taken back to Feast and stuff. That's later.
No, but because the Doc Ock battle, isn't that the last battle?
That is.
Yeah, but before you get there, don't you discover that that Aunt May's sick? Because you're like, take me to her, and you're trying to like get up and go to her, but you keep falling over in Feast.
That's right.
And
I
then,
don't know why you're there.
And then I think MJ sort of says something to you, and then all of a sudden, all of your pain just disappears, and that's the most insane recovery that I've ever seen ever in anything. For someone who doesn't actually heal quickly, like the Flash or something. He's just like, yeah, you're right. Now I am totally healed from your words. And then he runs off, and that's when you end up going out and starting the final battle. Because you're already hurt. I thought you were hurt at that point. And then it's just cutscenes after that with Aunt May, where you actually get to see her and stuff.
And that stuff. I don't know why you get hurt. But the Martin Lee battle's great because he turns into a massive demon. And that was odd. I love this game because it embraces the weird side of Spider-Man, and it embraces the fact that it is a comic book and things don't have to make sense.
Yeah.
Which is one of the low points, I guess, of the Amazing Spider-Man films, where it was like everything had to have like a scientific backing. This game, despite focusing so much on Peter's work in science, is like, yeah, fuck science.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is great. Which is fine.
Because you actually find out that Martin Lee is evil because he was really sick, and the Oscorp was trying to fix him, but things went wrong and somehow gave him his powers, even though that's totally unexplained and super bizarre the way he got them. But it's a superhero thing, so who cares? And that's where Osborn basically didn't care, and he was like, oh, it's fine, we can fix it later. And Octavius was like, no, this is real bad, we did bad things here, and everyone turns on each other, and that's why Martin Lee is evil, because he's trying to bring down Osborn. And that's all he wants.
Yeah, and Octavius is like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
let's do something.
So everyone's basically against Osborn in this. That's pretty much the point.
Which again is a crazy thing, considering he hasn't even been. He's not the Green Goblin.
Yeah, he's not a villain. He's just a bad guy.
Yeah, he just sucks at being a man.
Yeah, and so finally you basically just have to fight Doc Ock, because he's sort of the ringleader of everything now. He's brought all the bad guys together with Martin Lee, because they're now sort of working together. And then you get once you defeat him, you just get this big, just flood of emotional cutscenes.
Oh
man, this story ends in a big way.
It very much does. I just gave up on caring about how weirdly English white Mexican Peter Parker's face looked. I was like, nah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I can see the emotion here now. We're going with this.
Yeah.
Because, from the moment he gets stabbed by Doc Ock's claw to the end of this game, it is wall-to-wall cutscenes, but it is wall-to-wall magic of Spider-Man lore.
It's so beautiful. So basically you get Doc Ock, who's sort of, in a way, like a little bit regretful about what he's done, but he's probably just trying to manipulate Peter, and Peter's a little bit like torn with it, because he loves Doc Ock, he loved Otto, loved working with him, loved what he learnt, and just they were going to change the world together and all of this, and that's what Otto keeps promising him, even after all this battle, is like, no, we can still do work, we can still change the world, we can help people. And Peter just ends up not having a bar of it, basically.
Which I was so terrified. I was like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't make... Because I was like, all right, here comes boss battle number 2.
Yeah.
It's just going to propel me into another one. But no, they don't.
Yeah.
They're like, Peter is smarter than this, he can see what's going on. He's like, nah. You're going to get taken to the raft. Enjoy your life. Yeah,
pretty much. It's good. And then, after he leaves there, he goes to what's it called? Feast, which is...
Yep.
We haven't even mentioned. Feast is like this... it's this homeless shelter, basically, that Martin Lee set up. So Martin Lee set up as a really good guy, and Aunt May has been volunteering there for years. I think 5 years or something at this stage. And she's basically been taking over since Martin Lee went off to do his business, which was just being evil. But she's really sick, as are most of the people in Feast, and you now have the antidote.
Yeah.
To
the antidote.
Antidote.
We don't.
There it is. To save her life, but if you use it now, then they can't reverse engineer it and save everyone else that's sick, which is like basically the entire city. So Peter's standing there with this thing that can save his one remaining relative in life.
Ugh.
And it's like, she's there dying, and she basically says, you know what you need to do. And she essentially like blacks out.
She dies as she says that.
Yeah. And so you're standing there and you're like, you don't have the choice. You don't physically have the choice. It's not a thing. But the cutscene just plays out, and he's holding it there, and he just puts it away. And he's like, I can't. Everyone else needs to be saved. And and then Aunt May freaking dies.
Flatlines.
My goodness.
Oh my goodness.
What a finale.
It was like I was on the edge, because I'm like, there's not been any narrative choices throughout this game, but is this the moment? Is this the moment that last minute, like Uncharted, suddenly, let's fight with swords? What? Hang on. Is this the moment they just throw in a new mechanic and it makes you just gut rent? No, they make that decision for you, and I'm kind of glad they did.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Because I don't know what I would have done.
Basically, you would have saved her, and it would have been her, Aunt May, and MJ, and Miles in a city of dead people.
What a great game.
Man. But yeah, shit.
And then Doctor Strange he just floats out of the sky and he's like, "You rang?"
It's so odd. But yes. So everyone ends
Peter
up.
Parker, I've come to bargain. Oh fuck, I'm too late.
So everyone ends up getting saved, and it's all good. And then Aunt May, it's not all good. It's mostly good. Aunt May gets buried. So then you go to the funeral, and she's buried next to Ben, and that's sort of a nice but not nice moment at the same time. Oh, man. And then you've got the freaking credits cutscenes.
Oh boy. So the first one you get is Miles, right? That's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Miles and Pete, are they moving in together, or Pete's helping him move into a uni dorm room?
No.
I think is...
So Pete at some point during all of this gets evicted. So
that's right.
He sleeps at Feast and stuff like that. So before he can move into his new apartment and get a new apartment, he's gonna crash at Miles's place.
At Miles. That's right.
MJ has offered to take him, but
that's weird. That's weird.
It's weird, right? Maybe not. Sexy times. I was hoping you would.
I'll leave that one for you.
Damn it!
No.
Oh, don't. Why is it so awkward?
Oh no!
Damn it, Will.
Let's talk about the good thing that happens in this scene.
Yes.
They're moving in, and Miles, despite Miles being able to lift a car, probably, or actually no, that's not what I wanted to say. Despite Peter being able to lift a car by himself,
yes,
he's like, let's lift this together, and both of them equally have the proportional strength of a spider. I believe that's how it works. It's not. That's Ant-Man. But it's like, watching it was just super cringy, but it gets to the point where Miles is like, I'm going through something, and it's the great thing that I think has happened in every single Spider-Man movie, but this time it comes from Peter saying, well, you're going to go through some changes.
Yeah.
Which is great, and then Miles is like, yeah, no, fuck that. Look at this. I'm on the ceiling.
Yeah. And then Peter is like, well, that's not so weird. And then he jumps on the ceiling too. And it's so good, because at that stage, Miles doesn't know who Peter Parker is, that he's actually Spider-Man.
That he's Spider-Man, yeah.
But I think we totally missed a section where MJ finds a whole bunch of...
the greatest visual mission in the game.
It's gorgeous. She goes to Osborn's apartment, where there is a hidden little laboratory thing. You go in there, there's a whole bunch of spiders. He seems to be trying to reverse engineer Peter getting bitten by this spider and becoming Spider-Man, and she accidentally breaks one of these things, and she ends up with spiders on her, and she wipes them all off, and you're like, she totally didn't get all of them. So
one just creeps into her jacket.
That's right.
As well.
And then when you go back to Feast, one crawls out of that and then bites Miles, and you're like, of course, that is absolutely how that would happen. That's what I assumed would happen when she walked into that room with all the spiders. Like, all right, that's how Miles gets his powers.
I was like, how? Because in the comics, it is an Oscorp spider that does it. Mm-hmm. I was like, how is that gonna? Oh, well done.
Yeah. It was done very well. It was very obvious when it happened, but still very good.
Very good.
And yeah. So that's the first one.
What they could have done was like a twist. It is the first credit scene. Because earlier on he's like, "What do you want to be like, Spider-Girl, Spider-Woman?" Like, imagine if they made Mary Jane
that would have
like
been
the Spider-Gwen.
Hell yeah!
What a weird twist. But yes, then there's a whole heap of credits. There's a tribute to ETTO at the end. At the end.
Yeah. It's the very, very last credit, and man,
good.
So good. I took a photo.
Yeah, you did. Despite there being a share button that you could have actually taken a photo.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well. Fine.
It's all good. But then we get the end credit scene that I actually jumped out of my seat for, because it was the coolest thing. Mm-hmm. It was almost shot for shot the end credit scene of Amazing Spider-Man 2, but better.
Yes. Do you want to take it?
Because it might actually go somewhere. Yeah, I'll take this one. Basically, Osborn goes into the secret lab that we were talking about earlier, and then What? How does he? He goes into another room, doesn't he? That was hidden to us.
I don't know. I can't remember because maybe that.
I feel like he takes off a sheet.
Yeah, but I think it was like this big sort of metal container over the
Yeah,
top of.
that's right. It opens.
Yeah, over the top of like
Yeah.
a tub filled with green liquid and also a person.
Yeah, and that person is Harry Osborn, the best friend of Mary Jane and Peter that is talked about constantly through the game, and I was constantly like, what's going on?
Yeah, because he's
What does this
supposedly
all
gone
mean?
to London.
Yeah,
Um,
and I was just like, I don't know what this references.
Mm.
Turns out, not referencing anything. He's in this thing, and he's Venom.
Yeah, he's
This gooey hand slaps onto the glass after Norman touches the glass. He's Venom. This black goo.
which is very weird. That's very
Strange
non-canonical, but
No.
whatever. It's strange because
As long
Eddie
as
Brock
they-
exists
yeah.
in this universe.
He does.
Because
He's in it.
Yeah, there's a letter to Peter from everyone at the Daily Bugle, and there's a signature in there that is Eddie Brock's signature.
Yeah, from Eddie Brock. Yeah, totally. So it's very strange. I don't know. Like, it's another one of those things where it's like, has Peter battled Venom? Does he know what Venom is? Because just because Harry has this infection doesn't mean it's still not, like, it could still be from space or something, whatever. Like, maybe Osborn is using Venom to cure him. Like,
Or
that
maybe
might be the...
maybe he's maybe the cure of the venom it like turns Harry into Green Goblin, and then the symbiote finds Eddie Brock. Maybe something like
possibly.
that. Like it has to. It leaves his body with that cure. It's like
but it
can't
turns him
handle
into the
it.
Green
But then
Goblin.
it goes into Eddie Brock, and then he becomes proper Venom.
Yeah, maybe. Because the interesting thing is, the game, despite having 28 suits, does not have a variation on the black suit, which feels very purposeful from their part. So clearly it means that this Spider-Man would not have worn that suit because there wouldn't be a reason. Like, it implies that he hasn't met Venom yet.
Yes.
Which, again, is a big thing. But yeah, that credit scene was incredible, and I'm praying that is Spider-Man 2 and not a DLC. That needs to be one of the main plot threads of a next game.
Yeah, totally. I'm thinking, I'm wondering whether there'll be like a small DLC, like a Miles DLC. I'm thinking that will be one, at least.
I reckon that'll be December's to tie in with Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, nice. Buddy, I didn't even think of that. Hell yeah. Let's do that.
Oh yes, because we know the Black Cat, we don't really need to talk about her missions. They are very odd. You basically find a camera on a tripod, look for a cat, and he goes, "Oh, this is the person she robbed. Probably should have thought about helping there, but never mind. She's already robbed them. Whatever." But that's all building towards the first DLC, which drops next month, which is all about Black Cat. I'm feeling like the second one will either be Kingpin or Tombstone, possibly. Because their side missions end on a bit of like, we'll be back for you.
Yeah. What happens to Tombstone at the end? I thought we defeated him because we gave him the antidote.
He had a bit of admiration for us.
Yeah.
He was like, "I like you."
Okay.
Which is a very Thanos line.
Yeah.
But
what about who's the Russian dude?
Craven?
Yeah.
That'd be
Let's
cool.
get some Craven up in here. I feel like that was one of the people that that Black Cat robbed.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure one of those.
Yeah, she talks about like sort of like animal antiquities and stuff being one of the things that they had. I think something like that. So yeah, Craven totally exists. So maybe.
Yeah, maybe that'll lead out the back of the Black Cat one when he's like, "You got to take everything back to these people." And then she takes it back to him, and
cool.
he has to help her or something. Maybe.
I dig that.
Maybe. That'd be cool. But yeah, so there's a few DLC things coming out, which are very exciting. I think we should just talk about the good and the bad of this game.
Yep.
And just our general thoughts.
Wrap it up.
To round out this hour and 20 podcast about the story.
Jeez.
But I just want to say up front, the Yuri, I can't remember his last name, but yes, the voice actor of Peter Parker is Yuri.
Weird.
He is probably the best vocal interpretation of Spider-Man, like Peter Parker. He is perfect.
Very, very good.
He is absolutely Peter Parker. He feels like a voice I've heard 1,000 times in the best possible way.
Yeah. I had no problem. I had no problem believing any of these characters were who they were.
Absolutely.
The voice acting in this is phenomenal, and none of them are Nolan North.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's very Naughty Dog. I'm almost certain, because he's in every game, I'm almost certain he is one of the bad guy voices of one of the criminals.
Thug, yeah.
Yeah. But, he's not one of the lead characters. Despite there being so many villains to yell, he's not one of them.
Yeah, maybe he'll come in as Craven.
That'd be great.
That'd be sick.
Yep. Yeah. I'm glad we both did that. Let's just get rid of all the Peter Parker facts that I've got on here. What I think he is it's a grown-up Tom Holland Spider-Man, played by Andrew Garfield, but voiced by the guy who did Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man. So it's like, it's Sony's Spider-Man.
Yeah, okay,
because it's a grown-up version of Tom Holland, but it's played by Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Is what I see this guy
He's
as.
very much a mix of both of those people, because it's very, like, flicky, swaying hair.
Yeah, totally.
Man,
he's a cool
that
Spider-Man.
hair's so big.
It is. It's like Tom Holland's hair in Infinity War.
Yeah,
it's like
totally.
pretty buffy.
So good. Yeah, and then man, the models in this are insane. So you've got Mary Jane, who isn't at all the comic book Mary Jane. She looks like a normal human redhead person. She's not like this phenomenal, like overly attractive model.
Ironically, she is modeled off a model, but yes.
Yeah. But she looks like a person you just walk past in a street.
Yeah.
Like she's not over the top, like hot.
No.
Like you would expect, and like she's drawn in all the comics and stuff. Like every female is drawn in the comics.
She's a human being.
It's crazy.
She's the MCU version of Mary Jane.
Yeah, it's great. And then you've got Aunt May, who is modeled off the voice actress, and absolutely identical. They didn't even. I was looking at the art book. They have concept art for her, but they didn't go with any of them. They just went, "You look like a nice old lady that would look after your nephew whose parents died." And it's piece for piece her. Like it's just there's it's stupid. It's just her. It's just the voice actress. And then Stan Lee just looks phenomenal.
Oh man, I was saying to you that they should just use that 3D model for his cameos in the future.
Please,
when something happens.
Yeah, when that terrible something does occur. The close-ups of freaking Doc Ock when he starts turning is insane. Like you can just the pause.
His face quivers.
The pause. Like you can just see like oil, like the sort of oil on his face. Just as a normal human having oil on your face. Freaking, oh man, how does someone do that? Amazing. Visually this entire game is amazing. My roommate's come in and watched me play a couple of times, and he came in when I was just web swinging around looking for like finishing off the last couple of % of the game, and he was like, "Is it always a nice sunset in this game?" Because it's always just this phenomenal sunset with a lens flare happening almost constantly, and I'm like, no,
well, that's the thing.
It's just well timed.
Yeah, it's the thing with the game, right? And a lot of people complain that it wasn't going to have a day to night system, as pretty much all the other Spider-Man games have. Mm-hmm. The thing with it is, it has 3 different times a day. There's like middle of the day, and there's that afternoon sunset, and there's night, and because of that, each one of them is so perfectly lit. Like, everything is lit to a T because nothing is procedural. Everything is built to look beautiful from every angle.
Yeah.
So it's like, the payoff of it not being a day-to-night system is the most beautiful city of all time.
Yeah. Oh, it's
because
amazing.
They built it to look good.
Because nearly every photo you take will look good at any time of day.
Don't need to use anything. You don't need to play with the aperture. You don't have to put any filters on. The game will look pretty.
I didn't touch a filter.
No, of course you didn't.
I didn't. I mucked around with them, but I'm like, nah, these look bad.
Don't need it.
Like, I don't want these. These
These
take away from the game, if anything.
Yeah. There's some weird filters.
So good. And then, we've mentioned like all the references. One that I didn't mention that I was so stoked because I randomly came across it, because it's not anything that they point out, is Horizon Labs, which I was so stoked with, because that's, at least, I don't know if it's currently, but pre-Superior Spider-Man, that's where he was working. Is he still working there, or has he taken on...
I don't know, yeah.
Oh yeah, you haven't read past those either, much.
No.
Because I think Superior...
I've got issue 1 of the brand new one right next to me. So I could just open it, but...
yes, because I think Superior Spider-Man actually starts his own lab. And then I think Peter Parker takes over when he comes back.
Just takes it. I have read the first issue of him coming back where he's just like, what the shit?
Yeah.
I don't own a
everyone
lab.
probably hates him.
Yeah. Everyone hates him, and he's like, I don't own a lab, and he forgets to work, and they're like, dude, you gonna finish that project? He's like, what project?
Oh man, I'm freaking gonna get to those eventually. So I was stoked to see Horizon Labs, but there's so many hidden things in this game, it's insane.
Something that's not so hidden, and I was very excited to see him because I love this character. Taskmaster takes on the role of having challenges in the game, which are your swing through blue things and time challenges. They're tricky at times, but they're fairly easy in concept and easy to get the rewards from. But the cool thing is, as he does in the comics, Taskmaster learns from everything a hero does, and so when you battle him, you could pretty much do nothing but what you do when you verse a boss, and you just throw stuff at him. So, annoyingly, it's the same as usual.
It's pretty much the same.
Yeah. But I was just excited to see him with the translation into a kind of filmic, cinematic look, and he looks pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
Especially his light sword.
Yeah. Yeah, they've definitely made him very good, and he's so still so mysterious.
Yeah,
he's just constantly like, oh, these people are paying me for this, and blah blah blah, and he tries to recruit you into these mercenaries.
So cool.
Amazing, so good.
I never thought I'd see Taskmaster in anything but a comic book or a TV series. It makes me so happy.
It's great. It is great. Another thing that made us both very happy was the music. Oh my goodness. It's phenomenal. It's Spider-Man mixed with MCU. Yeah. The entire time.
It is the perfect score for a Spider-Man video for Spider-Man.
Yeah, yes.
It is now I love every Spider-Man score, but it just feels so right. Everything about this game feels so right.
Yeah. They took everything that we know about games and music and visuals, and they just did it perfectly. My goodness.
I can delete that one that says the effing music. I'll just delete that.
Very good.
Just below that is the effing Uncharted, because this game has some impossibly cool set pieces. Most of them we have already seen in every trailer they've released, like the one at Fisk's place and the fight through the city with the helicopter and the raft one, but playing them yourself and watching things unfold and the way it's one shot moving towards all these different environments. As I said, it's so Uncharted, and it's like PlayStation 4 has a thematic and a tone, and I'm so glad that this game fits with it, with your Uncharted and your God of War and your Last of Us. Like, this feels part of the Sony PlayStation universe in the best possible way, because it's so vibrantly a film.
Oh, yes. Oh, man. I have nothing to add there. That is perfect. Yeah, it's so good. It looks amazing. One thing, this was just such a side thing. I'm trying to think of all the weird like side things that I remember, like just mostly quotes. Might have written one down, but like somewhere else other than on my computer.
Yeah.
But there's one part. There's a couple of those crimes where you've got to there's a bomb in a truck and you've got to stop the truck and stuff like that.
Yep.
And there's one quote where it's the Tom Holland thing where he references an old movie but doesn't know the name of it. Because he's like, oh man, a bomb in a van. This is like that movie where there's like a bomb in a bus and it has to keep going up to speed. What's it called? like really fast or something like that. And I'm like, my goodness. That's awesome. They've just ripped that from from the MCU sort of jokes. It's so good.
I have a note here that says so many quips, and there is so many quips. I think I only had like 2 or 3 that came up twice, and the one you described, I did not get, which implies that there are so freaking many.
Interesting.
That it's just pushing them out.
Yeah.
Like, I love that when you're battling thugs, you don't hear the same ones, which is something that you hear all the time with the other games, because, you know, there's not as much effort as there is in this game. There's usually about 10 different things he'll say, and they'll be so vague that they'll always fit, but it's like, I have heard this too many times. Whereas this one, everything feels written for the situation. It also feels like there are so many of them that it's always perfectly timed. It's always right for what's going on. Like, there are so many... as I said, it's a game that does everything you've done before. There's so many horde and wave mode things that always feel the same, but when that new wave comes in, he has a new quip to say, and it's one you haven't heard before, so it's always funny, and you just forget that you're doing the same thing over and over again, because you're having so much fun.
Yeah. Every wave in every challenge in every different area of the city has a new quip. It's so good.
Yeah.
There was one that I lost my mind over, because it was so funny. He says... He's like, oh, excuse me. He's like, oh, I think I've used up all of my quips, but you guys haven't heard it yet because that was on the other guys. So just like, don't mind me if I repeat myself. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's so good.
It excuses everything.
Yeah, it excuses it if you hear a quip multiple times in a row. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so meta. It's amazing.
The game is so ready for everything. The one thing that I was wondering about the game is there's so many things where it's like, kick people off buildings, and I was like, I feel like that's not very Spider-Man.
Yes.
But when you kick him off, he must have a spider drone nearby because it webs them to the side of the building, and you can see that.
Yeah, because like after kicking like 2 or 3 off, I'm like, I want to see them hit the ground here. So I did it and just sort of sacrificed myself getting hit by guns and stuff, and I just watched them just fall off. And yeah, there's just this weird web that just appears out of nowhere and just puts them against the side of the building. It's so cool. It's like...
I did...
like, just non-lethal. Yeah. Beautiful.
I did one mission where I think I only kicked people off, and at one point I fell, and as I fell, I then looked up at the side, and it was one of those one of the thug missions, wave ones, where they've built a bridge across between 2 buildings. Mm-hmm. So I fell in between those 2 buildings, and I just looked up, and the walls were just covered with men, just webbed to the wall. And it was the weirdest, because I forgot that was a thing. Because this was just now, because before I did this, I just wanted to jump in to feel it again. Mm-hmm. Also the game. And when I fell, I forgot that was a thing, and just looked up, and there were just so many webbed men.
That's so good.
At the side of the wall, and it was just the funniest moment.
Ah, good. One thing that...
But also, cool. Yeah, go for it.
I was just going to say, one thing that I think broke the law a little bit is that these webs... generally in the games and stuff, the webs only last like a couple of hours. So these men are stuck.
They died.
Oh, yeah, they're stuck on like the top of a high rise, on the side of a high rise, and these things are supposed to last for 2 hours, and then they just sort of dissolve, and then these men just fall. Maybe, but...
Well, ow. But, well, the thing is, at the end of each thing, he's like, well, I'm done here, I better call the cops for the cleanup. So I assume...
Yeah, that's true.
The cops would get them down.
But then, again, on top of that, the other side, the collectibles, one of the collectibles is getting his backpacks, which are awesome because they always show, like, a thing from his past, because he talks about that these backpacks are his backpacks from high school, that he's just left around the town, but he's
like
he's got like trackers and stuff in them, and so they let off this signal, and so you can go track them down, and every time you find one, you get a new, well, not get one, but it shows you something that's in the backpack, which is like rubber gloves from a fight with the Shocker, or like
a broken lens.
Yeah, broken lens from like one of his previous costumes and things like that. And it's so cool that it's like a historical sort of thing of what he's been going through, and some of that's like stuff from the comic books and things like that. It's so cool. But
and like
but these
the
are
picture
all...
of his family, and he goes, man, as the world will never know they're secret agents. It's like, oh, okay, so we're gonna take that
Did
law.
you say
okay,
that?
We're gonna go
What?
with that. Yeah,
Man.
yeah.
Okay, fine. Just, yeah, take that. I guess it's Sony.
Insane story.
Yeah.
Yes, they just went with the Amazing Spider-Man thing. I
Why
guess.
not? Yeah, and but these
Yeah, the
bags
problem
are
is that,
still
yeah.
webbed from when he was like 16, and no one's found
Yeah.
them, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're still webbed, and the webs are still there from like 8 years ago.
Mhm.
So whatever, fine, I guess.
Whatever.
But
I mean, on top of that, he
breaking
doesn't
law.
know how to throw people, and he's been Spider-Man for 8 years.
It's
So
true. Yeah,
you have to upgrade that. It's a freaking video game.
indeed. But yes,
Yeah.
that's just I don't know if I have anything more to say. This game was amazing. I think it's probably going to be my game of the year. I know there's a whole bunch more games coming out this year, but there's not been a game this year that I've just been at work like thinking about, and it's just distracted me from everything for the 2 days that I had at work before I 100%ed it and
Yeah, I was gonna
didn't
say.
want to play anymore.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, this is probably my game of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I add to why it would be a game of the year?
Yes.
With the traffic of the city, because as you're swinging through the city, you do a few different crimes and stuff, and generally, if it's on the ground level and it involves cars, the insane thing, because I'm Will and I like to just see everything happen. Whilst the crime was happening, I then just swung a little bit as far as it goes until it's like, hey, you're leaving, and you can see cars are stacking up. Like, cars are pulling in behind each other. And so the longer you take to do the crime, the more cars pile up. And then, once you've done the crime, if you go away, and if you look back, all the cars are there, and then they start moving. The crime scene disappears, which is annoying. But if you swing closer, the crime scene reappears, and it's now just like an ambulance and a cop car, and maybe there's a few web guys there. And then, if you stay there long enough, traffic will pile up again because the cars are there. So the events
Far
are
out.
still there.
Yeah.
They're a permanent part of the environment, and like traffic flows as traffic would. It's crazy.
That's so
I freaking
cool.
love it.
That's so cool. Yeah. Yeah, on all of this, I guess, just quickly, this isn't a perfect game in any way, although
No.
we think it is. In Will and my mind, it is basically perfect. But
It's a pretty perfect game.
it's just like there's still minor bugs. They're basically nothing. They don't break the game. They don't ruin anything. Although sometimes they literally do break the game. My game broke, like froze once or twice, and there was a key that you had to get that didn't appear, and you had to restart your
missing
game
key.
and stuff. So there's a couple of little things like that, but it was only 3 or 4 days old at that stage. So
Yeah.
like
It's up to version 6 now, so I'm sure it's fine.
yeah, forgivable. But yeah, the scene where you're controlling MJ and she's giving Spider-Man instructions, and you sort of walk around and you get Spider-Man to web up guys around you to get rid of them as MJ. In the central tunnel or whatever, in the train station.
The Grand Central
That's the one.
Station.
Yes. Did you look up when he was webbing people?
Yeah.
Did you see him just disappear?
Oh, yeah.
Because he's on the roof, he webs people up, so you have to look at the
And it just
person
pops.
and then tell them, and then you look up, and like by that stage, he's webbed them and stuff, and he's on the roof, and then he just disappears. It's just
Yeah,
he's
he
just
pops
off.
out. Yeah.
A little bit game breaking, but obviously they were hoping people wouldn't just look up at the roof.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
Fair
Fine.
dues.
And then there's a whole bunch of other little
Yeah.
things as well that like I don't know.
Yeah, there's been a few documented stuff online.
Oh yes, they're
few
great.
weird
They're so
bugs.
funny. Have you seen the one on the boat?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, the 2D the
great.
little
it's like PlayStation 1 level of these
graphic
characters.
quality.
Oh, it's disgustingly
Oh,
great.
Speaking of boats and water, my god, don't swim in this game.
Oh,
Oh, it's the funniest but worst thing I've ever seen in a video game.
it's so you
You
guys
just kind of
yeah, it's like doggy paddling. Not
Yeah.
even. It's
But,
so
like,
slow.
No, he floats through the water.
Yeah, it's so slow. It's frustrating as hell. Yeah, do not go in
I'm
the
glad
water.
there was no missions involved with that.
My
but
goodness.
I like that you don't die in the water.
Yes, thank
I'm
goodness.
glad
but
that that's a thing.
yeah, no water levels. Thank you.
Thank goodness.
Far out.
My few minor things before we very much wrap this up
Mm-hmm.
is I love the Sinister Six and I like how they're handled and stuff, but the fact that they're like one boss battle and gone, they kind of feel like a bit of runtime. Just like they were like, okay, so we've got to get to Doc Ock. You've finished with Lee. How do we keep this going for a little bit longer? Sinister Six, just do them because they don't really do anything. They're just sort of forcing people to stay indoors a little bit. They're kind of just like the fire brigade during a fire. So they don't really do anything, but the fights are great, and it adds to a bit of lore for Doc Ock. They're trying to get the serum and kill and do stuff like that, but they just kind of they come out of left field a little bit because you're like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this, and then they're gone after a single battle in most cases.
Yeah, yeah.
But they very much feel like end game video game boss battles that are just there to continue the game a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a bit of a lead up to the end.
Yeah, and also because I was absorbing everything of this game leading up to it, I've seen so many interviews with Brian Imahara, which is the guy that created Jeff Peterson and R2-D2 from Mythbusters, so that's definitely not the one. But the guy that makes the game, one of the guys that made the game, he talked a lot about it being, and I think he talked at E3 and stuff about it being very much about being Peter Parker and the life of Peter Parker. It wasn't. It was like you'd put on Peter Parker's clothes in the lab or in Feast, and that was kind of it. There was, more cinematics and cutscenes with Peter Parker, but it wasn't really about living as Peter Parker. It was more about being Spider-Man and having the struggles of Peter Parker in the back of the brain, which is kind of what all the games do. It's nothing new for a game. It's just this time you get to walk around as Peter Parker.
Yeah, it's...
Whereas they kind of gave it as more like, oh, it's like GTA where there's really two characters, but it's not really.
Yeah, it's one of the things I think just everything about Spider-Man that makes him more relatable is that he has life problems. That's like the thing. He's a superhero. Sure, that's not so relatable, but the fact that he's got girlfriends and he's got to look after his auntie and he can't pay his rent because he's always being Spider-Man and always like he basically doesn't have a job all the time and all this stuff. That's the relatable part of Spider-Man. Like you need that for Spider-Man to feel like Spider-Man.
Yeah. And which is, I like that they let you play that, but it wasn't the great sweeping experience that I think they were kind of alluding to.
Yes.
But it also wasn't Tobey Maguire going, oh no, I forgot about MJ's date. Oh no, Dr. Connor's class. So I guess it was better than that.
Oh, great. But there was no pizza delivery level.
Yeah. There was no... I was waiting for it. I was waiting
very
for
much,
it.
especially when there's the scene where you're looking for all your stuff.
Yes.
And you're talking to the garbage man, and he's like, "Oh man, maybe they're at the pizza place." And you go, "Oh yeah, no, I'll bring you a pizza." I was so hoping that he would just strap a pizza to his back. Yes.
Oh, what a dream! That level was one of my favorite levels. Was finding his trash because it was so Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like it was.
Yeah,
it was so warm. There was something so lovely about it.
It was so cool, man. If you haven't played this game and you're still listening, freaking play this game already, please.
Please do. It's available for a low price of $69 from Target and $79 from Big W. So get on that. Get on it.
Get on it.
Or get it on digital, like I did. Whatever. It's float your boat.
just please, people, float your boats.
Please float your boat next to Rhino. So much breathing.
Oh, good.
Before I go, for those that listen to the 21st podcast, and if you haven't, it's on the channel you're currently listening to. I didn't mention it, but thank you for making... I had a 21st video... Well, you didn't make it, but thank you for finding... I had a 21st video that surprised me as all shit, and I was crying.
Yay.
And I had, friends, family, and celebrities, and I completely forgot to mention it. But thank you for finding all the video messages and getting people to send shit, because... like the video message wouldn't exist without you, and then also without Mr. Peter Burns for cutting it together. But thank you. I completely forgot to mention it in
Thank you.
the 21st
You're
one.
very welcome, man.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It was very cool.
It was very much organized by your mother.
Shock.
Yeah, she just gave me like list after list after list of people to contact. But yeah, no, absolutely, man. It was a pleasure. I had no idea how Pete was going to throw it together, but man, he did well.
He did
great.
very well. It's in the playlist as well, if you want to jump on that. It's in the playlist linked in our previous podcast, so you can check it out.
Yeah, there was a few times where I actually almost mentioned to you that I'd been talking to Pete about things, because I was talking to him about that, but also sort of about some other things.
Yeah,
and I almost
That's
a
funny.
couple of times, like in a podcast, I think, sort of went, oh yeah, like I was talking to Pete the other day and blah, and I was like, nope, don't say that. Far out.
Nope, not in your brain.
Man,
Good.
yeah.
Good job.
But,
you did a really good job of keeping the secret.
Buddy.
So did Pete as well.
Yeah.
I'm working with him every day.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, good fun. But
It was very good fun.
also on that podcast, just before we finish, just a quick reminder,
Yeah.
we've started a book club, and so that's basically we're going to read a comic every month and discuss it at the end of the month, and then pick a new comic run or graphic novel or whatever to review for the next month. And this month is the 1986, maybe. I think you've written somewhere.
Yeah, I can check it right now.
Yeah, it's on our Discord thingy. Watchmen.
1986, correct.
Good. 1986. Watchmen by that guy. Crap.
Tim Miller, is it?
Tim
It's
Miller
not-
and Moore.
Oh, I got it.
What's his name? Thingo Moore.
Patrick Moore. I'm pretty sure I said that last podcast.
Damn it! I should not be forgetting this. Neither of us should be forgetting this.
Mackle.
Macklemore. It's not even the rapper's name.
I know.
Crap. Look it up. Stop looking like an
It's fine.
terrible
You can
person.
look it up. But yeah, make sure you can grab it. Most libraries have a copy. I think that's where I'm going to grab my copy. So I've got a
Alan
physical one.
Moore. Alan
there you
Moore.
go.
Your dad.
He still sounds like a scientist. Yeah. My dad's definitely not a scientist.
Yes.
He's a lovely
So
man.
please
But,
read along with that.
Yeah, find it somewhere.
Yeah. It's probably online too. Yep. you track it down. Yeah, grab it, read it. We're getting some good feedback about the idea on our Discord, which is awesome. I'm going to maybe throw up an announcement as well tomorrow on the Facebook page for anyone who isn't on the Discord and isn't listening to the hour to 2 hour long podcasts every week. Just to let them know that's happening, so then they can join in as well, and we'll start some threads on Facebook to chat about it too, which would be awesome. So yes, definitely do that. But on that, we are on Facebook, YouTube. If you're listening on SoundCloud, and if you're listening on YouTube, we are also on SoundCloud.
We're on SoundCloud.
We have the Patreon that we mentioned earlier as well, patreon.com/each-to-their-own. Check us out on there. We have an Instagram page, which is ettogram, and then Will and I and Zara are on Instagram as well. You can find us there. Everything will be linked below.
Oh yes, at least on YouTube. SoundCloud's a bit whatever.
Bit harder.
It's not the most easy to link anything.
Guys, just go to YouTube. It's all there.
Yeah, just jump on over there. Also remember, if you're listening to this when it exists, shop.spreadshirt.com.au/ettonline, which will be linked at YouTube, as I said, you can buy shit from us.
Yes.
Literal human feces.
Man.
But speaking of human feces,
Yes.
I got nothing.
You probably need to go to the bathroom, I would imagine.
Oh, it's a little pee.
There it is.
But
And that'll be
also,
on sale at No.
Yeah, there'll be little vials. Very little. I don't know what's that going to do with the pea size.
Oh man.
But also this week, there's going to be a whole heap of videos. Josh is going to be doing a review or a gameplay. We will see.
Yes.
The upload is always happening,
Yes.
as usual. That will already have been out, because this is Tuesday. Oh, you know what I'm playing this week?
What are you playing this week?
Technically not. Oh no, Will doesn't remember. Don't talk about your balls again, but just fill time.
Is it the Tomb Raider?
No, the Tomb Raider's tomorrow, because you might be able to have a look at me playing Tomb Raider already.
Very good.
Just talk about something for a second. Just talk about something.
I need to finish Doom. I almost finished Doom. I was about to finish it, like, just as the Spider-Man update was happening on day one, but Will and Zara wanted to FaceTime, so I had to stop playing Doom, and I haven't finished it yet. So I'm going to try and finish that maybe this weekend if I have time.
I'm going to play Transference on the PSVR, which is that weird Elijah Wood game. And there'll be a first play of that in the coming week.
That would be sick.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by what that is.
It's going to be real weird.
Look forward to that this week, because that's where Time How works. But until the next Time How works, I'm the Doctor of Who.
And I'm Sheep. What the hell? Yeah.
You know how Time How works? It's 11:51.
I do now. And
there we go.
This is gone for...
That's on a t-shirt.
For 1:52.
There you go. That's how Time How works. That's going on a t-shirt, which you can buy at the address that I've said a lot of times.
Good times.
Good night,
Until
everybody.
next time, we are out.
We've done that. We're
dead.
Yeah. Okay,
oh my goodness.
that was my tooth.